Podcast City.
Get on it.
Podcast City.
Get on.
Yeah. Welcome to Corona Chaos with the Hurricane Mike Herron, episode 13. As we bring you stats, facts, and stories from the front liners. That's for sure. As usual, to the left of me, in his classic rock Triumph t-shirt, being a classic rock it is, give it up for my man Keith Mello. Boom. And to the right of me, on the wheels of steel, okay, my man Milt. What's going on, Milt?
Same old, man.
Same old, huh?
Day in the jungle.
It's another day in the jungle. I hear you. And we got a budding star in the building, right? My man Smoggy.
Smoggy in the
Who
building.
blew up with 24 organic views on his podcast last night and did a great job. You guys had a lot of fun. To get me off the couch when I got to elevate my foot and to pay attention and to limp in here and watch you guys multiple times, I knew something good was happening.
It got ugly, though.
Nah, it didn't get ugly. You guys don't get ugly. Listen, like Morgan Freeman said,
Absolutely.
we can argue, we can disagree strongly, but we can all remain friends. I mean, that's foolishness. That people think that you can't argue with somebody, you know, and you don't have to force your opinions on somebody. Sometimes it's enough is enough. With religion and politics in particular, okay? It's very difficult to force your way into the room. Certainly there. The Corona Chaos since we've been last been winters has taken some crazy turns. Okay? We've seen spikes in Massachusetts, spikes in Florida. We're going to talk about that a little bit. President Trump dialing back on his press conferences. His consultants telling him that he's hurting himself rather than helping himself during the press conference. He gets some poll numbers from Fox News that apparently really shook some Republican senators and presidential candidates. So he's kind of stepped back on that after the whole bleach, detergent, disinfectant nonsense that took place. Some people say he was being sarcastic. Others said it was ridiculously irresponsible. Some people said it was plain stupid. Okay? I do know this, that in the state of Illinois today, that there has been a sharp rise in people going to the hospital for swallowing or taking in disinfectants. So, whatever that means.
Insane. Just said, and it's crazy that CEO.
But listen, the president can't take all the responsibility because some people are just stupid. And you cannot fix stupid. That is one thing that has taken me a long, long time to learn in my life. But now I realize that you cannot fix.
It's just embarrassing that CEOs of companies have to even feel the need to make the statement saying this is dangerous. Don't inject the
Sure.
plane.
And they all have. They all have across the board. Other things going on. We have some stats here. Worldwide, okay, 3 million people have been affected by the coronavirus. 206,000 plus have passed away. Now, remember that number. Remember that number, 3.3 million, because we're going to come back to that. The USA has 972,969 cases at the moment. 56,000 plus have died. Okay? We now have 1/3 of the cases for the entire world. We talked about numbers not making sense. That's what took this podcast to the next level. When we start talking about the numbers not making sense. this does not make sense. That with countries as big as China and countries as big as Russia and countries as big as India and the European cluster, that the United States should have a third of the corona cases. Why do you think that's the case, Keith?
More flights around the world.
Sure, we have more open borders.
Just out of
Okay,
JFK in New York alone.
Yeah.
I don't trust that China is, but I mean that's another story. And Russia, I don't trust that they're being honest with the numbers that they're facing.
Sure.
So the numbers are probably even higher than that. But within the U.S., yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, more commerce is done out of New York City than more people visit that New York City in the course of a day.
And you can see the population centers suffering most. No shit North Dakota wants to reopen their economy. No shit Wyoming does, and South Dakota, and Colorado, and places like that. And you know something? They probably should. Because they are not on top of one another like we are.
Yep.
But it's much different opening Cheyenne, Wyoming, than it is opening New York City or Boston or Detroit or LA or anywhere.
Or Fall River for that matter.
You know, I mean, when you think about it, certainly that number jumps at me. Could it be because we got a slow jump onto things? That could be the possibility. Do our open borders and our world travel and all of that come into consideration? New York being the head of commerce, I'm sure they all add up. But and also, people not doing the right thing. When it comes to social distancing, could have contributed to this number as well. But the number just really, really jumps at you as a real big number. I think we're only 5% of the world's population. I think, I believe so, that we're only 5% of the world's population. For us to have 30% of the coronaviruses is disturbing to me. Okay? It is really, really disturbing to me that, we were that vulnerable.
It's even less than 5%.
Less than 5%. Think about that. Think about that number. Okay? Think about that number. 5% of the population. So you would think 5 to 10%, right? Maybe. Of that, because we kind of live on top of one another in certain places in our population centers. But to have 30% of those viruses, that's troubling to me.
And we're the ones who are best equipped.
We're supposed to be.
Well,
we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be. I don't think anyone could deny that we didn't get the type of stop we should have. Okay? But you have to remember, it was the first time we've seen anything like this in a long time. So we weren't, I don't think we're at battle-ready stations. Do you understand?
Yeah, and I
don't think so. We should never not be again. And this comes back to evaluating some of the things that we didn't do well to try to do better at. Professional sports teams, it's called self-scouting. CEOs of big industries, they self-scout. They find out their weaknesses. If you're going to play or compete against me, how would you attack us? What are our weaknesses? And this can apply to this. Our battle stations, we were not on guard.
Yeah, and at this point, to go and try and find out who did what, why, we're beyond that. It's like, now we got to deal with this. Now we got to work together to get this under control, because, anybody can point fingers.
And they get the jump on us, man. It's like a fight. You got, the guy who hits first is going to get the jump on you, right, Mill? I mean, when you're not ready for it, you're not ready for it. Unless you're at battle station ready. Okay? That line between North Korea and South Korea, in Cuba, in troops in the Middle East, they're battle station ready. We might have to take, not as intense as that, but a similar type of approach on the front lines to guard from this again. And the terrorists, they're going to say, wow, we thought we banged them up with 9/11. Wow. Imagine what we could do with some type of bacterial germ warfare. Can you imagine that?
I don't even want to think about it. But
I know,
we
if
may
you
not have a
if
choice.
you and them other whack jobs, jihadists, radical, Muslim, anti-USA types, and you're sitting here and you're brainstorming, I mean, it doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out, man.
I mean, you go back to 9/11, days after the attacks. The same kind, they were sending anthrax in the mail. So it's like if you sit here and think about now.
Yeah, who was sending anthrax? What are we talking about anthrax for?
It was just like about because when we had our guard down, worried about stuff like that.
Yeah, but it wasn't them sending the anthrax.
No, it was done within here.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah, so people take advantage of you when you focus somewhere else. Stay focused, stay on track with me, baby. Ride with me today, okay? Massachusetts, 53,400 plus cases. 2,730 people have died. There have been 116 new cases this week. Okay, Massachusetts, but that number doesn't add up. Because the number you gave me, 370 cases in Massachusetts, which is up from 189 5 days ago.
That's just in Fall River.
In Fall River alone.
Yes.
So repeat that, please. Because then these state numbers are wrong then.
No.
The
Massachusetts.
state numbers are incorrect, okay? If it says we only have 116 new cases in Massachusetts. Okay, listen. Give me the pen. Okay? It says we only have 116 new cases in Massachusetts, according to WCVB. But in Fall River, okay, your research said that 189 cases have been reported in the last 5 days.
The 160 new cases, mass what? That's deaths. 169 deaths.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Yes.
Okay, I stand corrected, brother.
And
Okay, good.
In a period of 5 days, just the confirmed cases. Fall River's still holding steady with only 3, but we went from 189 on Thursday to yesterday when it was updated. We're at 377. So that's that's double.
Yeah,
in 3 days.
It's double in 3 days. Why is that?
I'm assuming more people are getting tested.
Sure.
Because a lot
We're
of people
getting some numbers that are more real.
Yes.
I think. And with the testing is going to come truth in numbers. It's just a matter, just a point. I mean, how do you find out if people really, truly are if you don't have a test-based sample?
Yeah, I mean, I think like last time I did a check, just in Massachusetts alone, less than 3% of the people who live in here have even gone and been tested. So that you talk about true numbers. I mean, this is what we have.
Sure.
But we don't know if we only have not even less than 5%, 3% of the people who've gone and got tested.
New Bedford is at where with how many?
New Bedford was at, I just saw it.
Well, you have it in your notes.
212 confirmed cases in New Bedford as of when the website was updated.
That can't be correct. I don't think there's any way that far in New Bedford there'll be that kind of disparity with the numbers. See, and if you're not going to put out true numbers, don't put them out at all. Okay, there is no way. You think it's possible?
No, but like I said,
I mean, our economic levels, our poverty levels, our educational levels, our crime levels, all match one another across the board.
Just 5 days ago, that was about where it at. So I don't believe that in the last 5 days, New Bedford hasn't got any.
So maybe New Bedford should be expecting a spike soon.
Probably.
If the numbers are going to hold true, that is what would happen. Certainly, 11,000 dead in New York City alone because of this crisis. 56,000 plus in the country. So when you look at the numbers, okay, 20% of the deaths from corona happened in New York City.
And that's just New York City, not even the rest of the state.
That's New York City numbers. So again, it looks like population per square mile, per square inch, huge in this. Let's face it. if a serious virus like this breaks out again, I think you're going to be seeing people early on moving to places less populated. Maybe somebody's going to maybe buy that log cabin in Maine, or buy that condo in New Hampshire, or buy that, or get that little place in Wyoming or South Dakota, or places where land is wide open and neighbors aren't right on top of you. Because if there's one truth we're seeing from this, it is population centers are getting pounded, while other places which want to reopen and probably should be able to don't have the type of crisis levels that we have. And even in moderate, progressive models, it shows clearly with those Mountain West states out there that they essentially ready to reopen. And I don't have a problem with that. Do you have a problem with a Wyoming or a Colorado or a less populated state opening up faster?
No, and seeing as how a lot of authorities been delegated to governors to make that determination, if their numbers are coming that are showing, okay, here's where we were at, this was our peak, and if that's the case, then that's fine for them to reopen. Like closer to home, we're still having these problems. It's too early. Closer to home.
So you're not mad at the governor from Georgia?
Only thing with that is Atlanta is a city.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think. Yeah. There's no Atlantas in South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, but Utah, places like that. It's just not. It's not there. The governor of Texas says he is ending the stay-at-home order.
That could be dangerous. On
April 30th. Now, a lot of land. Everything's big in Texas. And so is the space. But they do have some cities in Houston and Dallas that are amongst the top 10 most populated in the country. Is it premature? The guy from Texas pretty much done his own thing during this thing. Is it premature? Well, when is it not? When is it not okay to raise the, to get the reopening thing? Because I think we all agree that it has to happen. It has to happen sooner as opposed to later. I mean, can we wait out the summer, you think? And people maintain their sanity and people maintain their somewhat of quality of life and without the stress and the financial issues and not seeing loved ones. I mean, Milton, could you wait till September? I mean, that would be a tough ask for me.
I could do it, but it'll be difficult.
That would be a tough ask. And let's not forget, some mayors in Los Angeles and New York in particular, two very strong population bases, very thick population, people per square inch, per square foot, however you want to measure it. They're talking about not really reopening anything until the first of the year. Phase one, I think, is going to come in the middle of May.
That sounds about right.
And that sounds about right with me, okay? Stage two, I'm not sure when that is. I think they're talking about in early July for stage two. But stage three, I believe, is going to be the big one. Stage three is going to be
far off.
Phase. You think phase three is far off?
Phase three, definitely may not happen this year.
Really?
Not going to say it. Not going to speak for all 50 states. But
do you really think? Well, let me ask you a question. You really think the National Football League is not going to play this year?
It's looking more and more like that. No.
NBA players, I've started training together. Hockey, they get some things in motion. You really think that the National Football League is not going to play?
It's looking more and more that way, especially when...
Say it. If you think it's not the case, I don't think there's any way Donald Trump in hell does not let football play. I think that is going to be the rollout of it. It may start a month late. Don't get me wrong. It may start out a month late. But you don't think that he's going to do everything in his power And he is the most powerful man in the world, whether you like it or not. You don't think he's going to roll out football?
He's going to definitely try. The thing is that could end up being a decision made by the governors of California, New York. If they both hold true to what they're saying, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts.
So listen. By September, you're going to have how many months of quarantine? 5?
On 6.
Okay. You think a governor is going to have the balls to tell his constituency, this state, and this state have approved, open it up, but we're not going to do it here in New York? I mean, do you think it comes a time when, I don't know. If anybody has the balls to do it, Como would have the balls to do it, but...
You should be in phase 2 by the time September, October comes around. The thing is, are you at the point where you can have...
Phase 3.
70,000...
Phase 3 is concerts, sold-out arenas, 50,000 plus gatherings are okay. We're talking the Masters. We're talking NASCAR. We're talking concerts. We're talking all of it. Everything's back. Phase 3. But some politicians are already out there. First of all, I think it was irresponsible for the mayor of New York City and the mayor of New York to say that they were going to close down to 2021. And both of them came out public and said it. Okay, I believe the LA mayor said it first. New York mayor followed suit. I get it. But that's above their purview, I think. I think the governor and then the president, I think, would have more control over that.
I mean, maybe other cities and communities don't feel the need, and maybe you can shift stuff over there. Maybe you can find locations where you can hold basketball games and baseball games and football games. Going to be the...
But you're never going to be able to simulate the arena or the audience. So is that what you do? I mean, did you play in sparsely arenas? I say no. Don't. Do you play in empty stadiums? I mean, we saw that. You guys saw that at WrestleMania. We've seen it with other stuff. We don't want that, do we? I don't. I want my football. As much as I hate them drunk, stoned, stupid-ass meatheads who paint themselves the color of the team and dress up like it's Halloween. But I want to see that on Sunday. I want people going back and forth. I want Tampa Bay Stadium to go crazy when Tom Brady throws 6 touchdowns in his next game. That's what.
The owners of the teams want all of that too.
Sure.
So they're behind.
But they are big business. During the last recession we had, there was a handful of companies that actually profited. This is the George Bush coming out of a weapons of mass destruction war. That last recession that we had, it was the second worst in the country's history. There was only a handful of businesses that made money, and the NFL was one of them. Okay, the NFL was one of them. Okay, and the show went on. Now it's going to be interesting to see what the plan is. Okay, but I would be very surprised if an NFL season, it could start late. It could very well start a month later, who knows? But I believe strongly that Donald Trump will do everything he possibly can, from the Supreme Court to executive privilege to calling it a crisis that reopens, whatever type of political wrangling that he can do. And as the president of the United States, he has unbelievable powers. I think he's going to go for that, Keith. I do. I just do. Let's switch gears a little bit, right? We're talking about a food shortage. Do you have any information on what's going on with that? Let me tell you the information I have. The experts predict a break in the food chain due to meat processing plants being closed because their workers had corona. Now, what could possibly be more essential than a frontline worker is working in the food industry? Because if the packing and processing plants stay closed, how are we going to preserve and ship the appropriate amount of food to markets all over the country?
And with a lot of these places being shut down, not even talking about how much livestock is just basically being put out put on death sentence. There, it's unused, and they can't.
Well, if it's not used, they're not going to kill the cow. There was a supply and demand. There was a market and trade. I watched the tuna. Its quotas. It's like, okay, they process for the demand. Okay, and that's what's so dangerous, because the demand is high now, but they don't have the workers to process it and fill the demand. And it's scary to me. I mean, think about it. If you saw people bug out about wipes and toilet paper, what do you think they're going to do if there's no hamburger meat or no pork chops or no chicken? What are they going to do then? Well, I mean...
Yeah, there's... Yeah, speechless. I mean, actually speechless on that, because yeah, exactly. If you toilet paper and sanitizer and stuff if you can't find that, now you can't feed yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to make people absolutely crazy.
That's going to make people go violent.
Yeah, it is. That would be when you see a protest of 3,000 people as opposed to 30 at Government Center. You know, if mothers can't struggling to get food to feed their children, and listen, I'm just saying, I don't know this to be true. Okay, this is what various reports from various different news agencies, both liberal and conservative. Okay, I don't want to create any type of panic, but there is a serious problem with the food chain right now. And the primary reason is because of the processing and packing factories and plants throughout the country. Now, let me ask you a question, right? You would think that would be of number one importance, okay? So do we make people from the National Guard work in the processing plants? Do we pay juiced up salaries to get more people in there working who don't have the corona?
People who are currently unemployed now that are capable.
You know I mean, do we offer them, $40, $50 an hour to work in these places and do the jobs because there is not enough workers?
But that would mean everything else would go up.
But what I'm saying,
living itself would go up.
No, because they wouldn't. Yeah, a lack. Hold on, but that's we're talking about a solution to that problem. A lack of product would drive the prices way up, but the government can regulate that to a certain level. Okay, because it is food. Okay, I would think that they would be able to do that. But you're absolutely right. The scarcity of it would initially drive the prices up. Okay, what I'm saying is, having more workers come in there would drop the price down because they would have to process more meat, so there'd be more food available to the consumer. When there's more food available, when there's more tuna available than any other year, the price of tuna is going to be lower. When there is less tuna available more than any other year, the price is going to higher. Is going to get higher. But we have to have some type of stopgate measures for this food shortage in place, certainly. We talked about loosening up. We talked about pretty much letting states do what they want.
Yes.
aside from Atlanta, I don't have any problem with those Mountain West states reopening. Okay. Next thing up, we're talking about here. Another round of stimulus funding is coming. It is processed. We got a notification today that they have our requests on file. That was big news. Okay, another round for the PPP and the Small Business Economic Disaster Loan should be coming, and they say there are more benefits coming to small businesses or anything. Before there are any small businesses, before there are any more promises, just get the money to us that we asked for. Not a penny more. Honest. Get businesses like mine the ability to pay loans, pay their people, pay some overhead. We've lost over 50% of our income. Let us get back to even.
Small business is what drives the economy, not
Absolutely.
big business. Small business.
Small business does it. They made huge mistakes with that. They're actually talking about charging them with CEOs with felonies if any corporate businesses try to sneak into this next round of funding.
As well they should.
Okay, so the Fed's talking big punishment to people trying to get in here, certainly. But that next round of funding is coming, and we've been promised even more than that. But if they can, I think that every small business, right? Sometimes you got to suck it up. And small businesses who have been around for a long time, maybe they should have a nest egg, maybe they shouldn't. Okay? But when you're asked to do this and you comply, at least they should try to get you back where you used to be. Right, Milton? You don't want an advantage. Just get me to where I was before this madness. Yes. Get me into that neighborhood. Because it's not their fault. They're not living high in the hog. They're not mismanaging their people. They're not. They went out of business directly due to this chaos from this crisis, something that we've never seen before. And I think every business should be entitled to at least get to back even to where they were before this.
Because there's no excuse for companies that were able could get $25 million out of the small business. There's no that defies logic why they would need a company. And that's based on double what they would have. I mean, that just defies logic.
Yeah, I don't think that those loans were made for Ruth Chris and Shack and
that
Harvard.
Funded 20 small businesses.
And the rest are more than that. A lot more than that. We're asking for like 10. And so it would have funded a lot more than that. Good news. The stock market is up across the board today. The Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ is up. And Italy is on track. And they are planning on loosening restrictions seriously on May 4th.
Yes, and Italy was hit the hardest of this after the U.S.
No, Spain. Spain is second with 220,000 cases with this, certainly. But again, can you trust the numbers from China? Can you trust the numbers from Russia? We can't trust them with anything else. If they've been taken advantage of, like Donald Trump says they have been, for so long, how can he trust the numbers? How can we trust the numbers? How can anybody? I find it hard to believe that nobody died in China from corona today.
Or in the last month, we haven't heard of it.
I mean, I told you about the Tiananmen Square, man. They act like that never happened. It's a closed society, but why are we surprised? I don't get it. I do not get it. What is next on the docket? Kim Jong-il. Some say he's dead. Some say he's brain dead. Are there reliable sources in the media? And one thing I am positive of, the powers that be, the Security Council and Department, high-ranking officials would know if he was dead or not in this country. There is no way that we don't have spies and we don't have any type of intelligence over there. We have it all over the world. Okay, we can hear Kim Jong Il snore from outer space with the technology we have. Believe me when I tell you that. He's not. We would know. Now, would we release it? I don't know. With the type of press that we have, they will get to the bottom of it sooner or later. Because they're so dogged, they're so determined, they're so focused on busting stories. So that's where I'm. That's where I'm at. I do think he's dead. Keith, get some information on him. I know what a lovely guy Kim Jong Il is. What a sweetheart.
In December 2013, he ordered the death by firing squad of his own uncle, and there are dozens of other deaths because that's his policy. If he kills you, going to kill everyone close to you. And
not the first dictator to think that way.
Also ordered the death in May of 2016 of a general in the North Korean army.
I'd hate to fuck up working for Kim Jong-il, huh?
And
Kim Jong-un.
And the deputy.
Sorry. Bang, 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 bang. See you later.
And also the deputy minister of security. All of this is unconfirmed because they're just stuff they're never going to let out. But it's all rumored.
Sure. So this guy, no stranger to the brutality.
Also survived 2 assassination attempts twice.
Really? He's fascinated with American culture, okay, gangster movies, and whiskey. You know that?
Definitely knew American culture, and Dennis Rodman went up.
Yeah. But he's infatuated with gangster movies, Western movies, whiskey, and American culture. Go figure.
Yeah. He's also twice been cited by the UN for human rights violations.
Sure.
Which mean about as much to him.
Yeah, I don't think he goes to bed worried at night. President Obama called him the most dangerous man in the world.
It's hard to argue.
Sitting on a stockpile. An unstable psychopath who routinely kills a member of his family and generals, okay, has his hands on potentially the destruction of this entire universe. That should really, really make you worried.
It does, and it's the idea of what he's capable of is the reason why Russia or China or the U.S. is never going after him.
Yeah, they say that he's close to his cousin, right, or his sister or something. That there's a female influence that he's very, very close to. It's going to be interesting to see who takes
the reins.
Takes the reins and where they want to go. How are they going to approach the West? Are they going to be less secretive, more open? Everybody evolves. And this is an opportunity. With adversity comes opportunity, and the good people in North Korea and the people who are in charge should maybe think about changing things up just a little bit. They're not going to do it overnight, but try to turn that place from the awful place.
Yeah, the one positive, it's hard to believe there is a positive involved in him, but he has been open to talks with the leader of South Korea and about the possibility of becoming one. But,
Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon, but anytime they're talking, it is good, that's for sure. Last but not least, Keith, I'm putting it on the table right now, okay? Is it the time that Democrats really start to consider possibly removing Joe Biden from the ticket and trying to put Andrew Cuomo to the front of the pack? Now, they're not going to do this through the primary process. They would have to do this through some type of convention wrangling, but there is ways that this could happen. Okay? I said a long time ago that there's too much tape on Joe Biden. There's too much tape on him, okay? There's going to be another allegation of sexual contract. This girl, Tara Reid, was a staffer in the early, Senate staffer in the early 90s. But here's more bad news More of the same. They have the tapes. They have the memes on social media. They got all of it, okay? Through crisis comes opportunity. I think everybody around the country can think that Andrew Cuomo is a very bright, dynamic politician with strong leadership capabilities.
He's definitely a game
And he's
changer.
very bright. Like we talked about, Andrew Cuomo wasn't on the tip of everybody's tongue. But as we talk about when we walk together every day, we talk politics, and we talk about, wow, can you imagine if this guy, if this was around when people were making a decision, how different he would be? Is there any way in the world you can see this happening?
It's something I would definitely love to see happen. I don't think it will. That part of it with the conventions. At some point, the establishment wants to take them over. I don't think the establishment who run the conventions would allow for it to happen, not at this late stage of the game, but it's definitely something I would love to see
But the
happen.
people could buck the power, but then the power people put the people there. It's a very complicated web. But if the National Committee got behind them, or Obama, or some of the heavy hitters in the committee, if the fundraisers say, listen, Joe, you've done us a service. This election is going to tarnish your reputation, not enhance it. Okay? Take a bow, go out, say you're going to stay home with your family. You know, this coronavirus has brought you closer together. You know, life's precious and short. Maybe I am a little too low. You know, maybe roll out a Andrew Cuomo, Michelle Obama ticket.
Never thought of the bottom part of the ticket.
Yeah, maybe vote if you want. So maybe it's time that entire old guard of the Democratic Party goes quietly into the night.
It's been time for that, but they always seem to reemerge.
Yeah,
I mean, with
sure, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, because that's what people in power do. They resist change. They see it threatened, but it's good. It's good to cleanse. It's good to clean. And I think, I'm a Democrat. Okay, I'm a proud Democrat. Okay, from a Democratic blue-collar neighborhood in Fall River, Massachusetts. And I think, believe me when I tell you, I think it's time right now, okay, to think about replacing Joe Biden from the top of this Democratic presidential ticket and putting someone like Andrew Cuomo and some young blood on the ticket, okay? And I think that's the way to go. A election of Biden versus Trump would just be, look what you did, you're Sleepy Joe, you're back and forth. There's too much tape on both of them. We know Trump's going to be there, okay? And you know what I say? My strategy against Donald Trump is...
Let Trump beat Trump.
Let Trump beat Trump like he did last weekend. Let him become his own worst enemy over and over again with more eyeballs, like a pandemic press conference in front of him every day. And then look how that worked out for him, okay? But now it's time to say goodbye to Hillary. It's time to say goodbye to Joe Biden. Goodbye to those establishment candidates, and let's come up with Andrew Cuomo. Father, a dynamic governor for New York for years, okay, who many thought was going to be president in 1988 and 1982, chose not to run. Why? I don't know. But if Andrew Cuomo can pass the vetting process, okay, with his exposure, with his hip, cool appeal to younger people, okay, packaged correctly with the anti-Trump support, I think it would be very wise for the Democratic Party should do that. Okay, I am the Hurricane Corona Chaos. We had a lot cases going up in Fall River, leveling out, starting to level out in Massachusetts, and I'm still wondering why, with only 5% of the world's population, that we have 30% of the coronavirus. Thank you. Good night and God bless. Peace.
Podcast City.
Get on it.
Podcast City.
Get on it.
Podcast City.
Get on it.
Podcast City.
Get on it.